Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about the worst books of 2018 that I read. Now just because these are the worst books doesn't mean that they're bad books or that I didn't like them. It just means that they didn't hold up to other books that are on my list of best books. So my 5 stars and my 4 stars and some of my 3 stars are on my best list, and then my 1, 2, and some of my 3s and even 4 stars are on my top worst. And it's just because of, now that I look back at them, what I remember about them, kind of like a adjusted grade of the book, basically, like an adjusted score. So the only book that I still own off my worst books is The House with a Clock in Its Walls, and that's because I wanted to keep it until I saw the movie and then maybe reread the book. But I've reevaluated that, and I don't think I'm going to. This book was so boring to me, and I couldn't get into it. It wasn't that it was like little kiddish, it was just that I didn't like it. It was slow and boring, and I couldn't get drawn into it. So that's why I think this is one of the worst books that I read of 2018. The rest I don't own anymore, or I'd never owned, and just had the audiobook. So I'm just going to list them and tell you what I didn't like about them, and if I can figure out how to put the picture of the book right here, I will. If not, you can look them up on Goodreads. And I don't know the authors, I only have the titles of the books right now. And they're on a list on my computer, so if you see me looking over there, that's why. So these aren't in any order. They aren't like listed from worst to best, best to worst. They're just random from what I remember. So I read Bird Box because I wanted to watch the movie on Netflix. Absolutely hated it. Did not watch the movie because of the book. Was completely bored and hated the ending, so that's why it made my list. And even though these books made my list doesn't mean that you can't like them. It just means that I didn't. So if you like these, I mean no offense, so please don't hate me in the comments. I didn't like them. It's my personal opinion. Okay, so the next one was One Day in December. This book was a book of the month book, and everybody that I know and watch on YouTube loved this book. I hated it. I thought that the fact that it took place over 10 years was just ridiculous. Like, I prefer, if it's going to be a contemporary, I want it to happen like that. Like, I want that insta-love, because I don't want to sit here and wait 10 years worth of does he love me not, or vice versa for a guy. Like, I don't want to sit through it. I don't want to see them be with other people. I don't want to see it. The series that I'm reading now is kind of like that, and I like it because it's more drama-filled, but this one was so boring when it came to it. It was like, yeah, we're together. No, we're not. And then like a bunch of other crap happened, and it had nothing to do with the story, in my opinion. So I did not care for this book. The next one was another popular one. So these are kind of unpopular opinions, but another one was Truly Devious. All the booktubers I follow that reviewed this book loved it. I listened to the audiobook, maybe that's why, but I couldn't get into it. Like, I didn't care who the bad guy was. I don't even think they told us who it was. I think, like, they told you who it was, but it was, like, kind of like the Scream series where they're like, this is the bad guy, but there's also another one. You don't know who it is till you read the next book. I couldn't get into it, and I actually didn't order The Vanishing Stair which is the second book, because the first one wasn't good to me. It was good, but it was like a 3-star read. The next one is Pet Sematary. I have tried reading Stephen King's books twice now. I tried it, got about 100 or so, maybe 80 pages in, absolutely hated it, and I read Pet Sematary. I didn't hate it, but it was boring. I didn't find it interesting. I didn't think it was scary, and the movie terrifies me, so I figured it would be really good, and it wasn't, but I still want to see the new movie. So I don't dig his writing at all. Like, it's not for me. I will try again with like Carrie or another movie that I like, a movie that I like, and then try the book for it. But I have a feeling I won't like it, so I'm hoping that mindset won't mess me up. The next one is Basic Witches. This I borrowed from my sister-in-law, and it was a good book. It was just kind of really little kiddish. It was kind of aimed for teenagers, and she's not a teenager either, but she liked it. But it was kind of like a self-help book, but they made it sound like a witch kind of thing, like I can't even think of an example right now, and I don't have it. But I felt like it was really geared towards younger kids, and I think that's why I didn't like it, which is weird because I like middle grade books, but whatever. And it felt very immature, for the best word possible there, and kind of silly, and just not in a fun way, just kind of in a trying too hard kind of way. It was forced. So I think that's why I didn't like it. It was cute, and it did have some good qualities to it, but it didn't make the list of best, so it came on the worst. Because I only read like 100 books, and I did top 18 and worst 18 and top 18. So that's why there's so many. Then A Simple Favor. This book was okay. I really liked the book better than the movie. The movie was just like a soap opera, and not in a good way. It was kind of like, how is this even happening? Like, they would get caught, or just CSI would be all over this, and I just didn't like it. The book was good, but it wasn't a top book for me. So it was probably like a middle average book for me, but I read so many books I read a lot of books, but I didn't read enough to where I could split it up like good, bad, middle. Hey, sorry about that. My husband came and interrupted the video again, which apparently is going to happen a lot. So anyway, I was talking about A Simple Favor, and I think I ended it there. So the next book is This Body's Not Big Enough for the Both of Us. I got this book because the author had, his previous book was like a Scooby-Doo mystery, but it was like adult version. Not in the dirty way, just in the adult version. And I really liked that book. That was one of my tops for 2017. So I got this one, and I read it, and it was supposed to be like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, and I hated it. It just was, I don't even know, like, it just didn't make any sense. So I didn't care for that one. I still will read his like next book and everything just to try it if the topic interests me, but I didn't care for it at all. And then the next one is A Cabin, or The Cabin, I'm not really sure which one. So Cabin at the End of the World. This one was really good up until the end. I don't want to spoil anything, so if you want to read it, go ahead and try, but I didn't like the ending. You might, I don't know. It was very unfulfilling and unsatisfying, like the whole book was, not just the ending, but because I expected so much more from it, so that's why I didn't like that one. Next was Norse Mythology. This one was actually, it was pretty good. It was kind of like Edith Hamilton's book Mythology, but for Norse mythology only, and it was written like a novel rather than like an informational kind of book, and it was really cool, and I liked the concept, but it just, I apparently am not into it as much as I thought, or the way that the writing was didn't grab me, because I liked the topic, I just didn't like the way it was presented, which was weird, because I thought I would like the fact that it was a novel and it was cool like that, but apparently that kind of stuff I like to be more informational rather than like storytelling, unless it's like Percy Jackson or something, where it's, you know, got the kid aspect to it and everything, the middle grade aspect. So that was just kind of a miss for me. The next one was a really big miss for me, which was Mortal Engines. Didn't like it at all. This is another one where I wanted to see the movie, so I read the book, and I just couldn't get into the book no matter what I did. It didn't interest me to begin with, but since it was becoming a movie, I felt like I had to read the book, and I'm trying to shy away from doing that because I do that a lot, and I have a lot of ones that I'm reading because they're gonna be movies, but they actually interest me rather than ones that don't. So I'm trying to not read every book that's going to become a movie until I see the movie, and if it's really good, then I'll read the book, but usually I don't want to even see the movie. So this one I actually wanted to see the movie, so I read the book, and it failed for me. It wasn't something I was interested in. The next four are A Series of Unfortunate Events, number 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think that's the hotel one. One of them's the carnival one of them's the hospital one. What's the other one? And the other one, the Vile Village, maybe? I feel like that's 5. I don't remember. But 6, 7, and 8, didn't like them at all. The series, like, okay, I liked 6, and then I kind of liked 7, kind of liked 8 a little less, 9 a little less. It just got worse and worse. And then if you see my review of it, you know that by the time it got to the end, I was like, what is this? I hate it. So, yeah, they were okay from 1, and then they just started going downhill from there. Just made me so angry. So I'm not even going to take time to talk about them. I just didn't like them. The next one is Beneath the Sugar Sky. It's part of the Wayward Children series. I tried reading these, and they're so short that I thought I'd like them because they're short, and I figured they'd be to the point and be really good. But I just couldn't get into them. It's not that they were bad, because like everybody else likes them. It's not that they were bad. It's just I wasn't a fan. So this was the 3rd one, I think, in that series, and I read it and I didn't really care for it. So I stopped with the series because I know there's a 4th one this year, and I'm just not going to even bother. The next one is A Wrinkle in Time. This is another one that I read because of the movie, and I didn't like it. I don't know. I don't remember why. I think it was kind of boring, maybe, or confusing, if I remember right. So that it just didn't work for me. The last one is Sadie. This is another one that all of BookTube loves. It's not that I didn't like it. I think it was like a 3 or 4 for me, actually. It's just compared to my other ones that were like all 5s or maybe 4s. I don't know. The ending kind of irritated me. So that's why I made the list. But those are my lists for the top worst of 2018 that I personally read. And like I said, if you like them, that's great. I'm glad you did. It's not that I'm not judging you for it at all. I'm glad you liked them because I didn't, you know. So if you did like them and you want to talk, that's fine. If you hated them too, let me know. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.